This is Blue July, and you're listening to the Be Someone podcast. Lights looking bright, the H got the vibe. She's my name on the signs, it's my time to shine. When I was cruising 45, and it crossed my mind that I shine like the sun and that I'll be someone.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Be Someone podcast. Today we are joined with my boy, artist, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu expert, father of the year, Franky Cardona. How you doing today,
Good,
brother?
Man, how you doing? How you been? Good.
Blessed, man, blessed.
Yeah.
A second ago, we were over here reminiscing. For me, this is like a full circle moment because I remember you were my first guest
That's
on
right. Yeah,
the Be Someone podcast.
Yeah.
We pulled up to the other spot that you had, a little scary spot, man. Like I was worried about someone pulling a gun on me when I was putting the numbers at your old studio. But we recorded on a phone, and you had a little faith in me, and you spoke to me, and you gave me an opportunity, and we chopped it up, and now we're here, man. And I wanted to tell you, man, I'm extremely proud of you. You spoke about this. You said that I had this idea, and I have an idea to have a studio in, East downtown, and dude, you here?
No, I appreciate
it's
it.
beautiful,
Man.
spacious. The floors are nice and glossy.
Yeah.
Beautiful artwork behind us.
Thank you.
Hell of a job, man.
Appreciate it. You too, man. That's I remember that. You had the phone. You didn't have microphones. You had the phone recording us, and then I just remember you just being like, what I remember the most about you is being consistent, dude. Like you were on it, bro. You just like one after another. I was like, dude. This is like that's a hard working podcast right there, bro. Like you did, like I remember that, dude. I was so proud of you too, man. So yeah,
much love, much love. Golly, these are good moments, aren't they?
For sure.
Just to see where we started and like where we're at and where we're going too, because by no stretch of the imagination is Franky Cardona done, painting worldwide and doing what he wants to do, and I'm sure as hell not close to being through. We're just getting started, baby.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm gonna start with this. Fatherhood, man, looks good on you. One of the things that I've been noticing and I've been tracking, and I just seen with my own eyes, is you're a hell of a father, man. From one dad to another dad. I enjoy, watching you and your son on that journey, helping him get bigger and stronger. For the sport that he loves, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And then I get to see you in the gym with your son, and it's not you forcing him to do jiu-jitsu. It's a spot where y'all both, meet. You got something that's mutual. Yeah. And you have a good time. Has fatherhood been something that comes to you like naturally, or have you had to work at it?
I mean, you always have to work at it, but my boys, Anthony and Jaden, they're such good kids. They make it easy for me, but it's definitely something you have to work at because, they look at you as an example, and so when you do things that they see that aren't right, as a, for a father, or a good father, I guess you could say, is you just gotta lead by example, and yeah, I mean that's probably I'm proud. And I appreciate you saying that because that's probably makes me more proud than the art career or anything else that I do in life. Because that's something that I want. I guess that's something that somebody can never say. Oh, like Franky was a bad dad. Yeah, and I'm proud of that. So. And I hope my kids feel the same, So
I'll have to ask them later.
Yeah, I gotta ask them. Yeah, they're like, yeah, you ain't. No, but yeah, I'm my oldest one, Anthony, he's on his own journey with music and things like that, and so he's his own man, and then I got Jaden, 14 years old, and he's stronger than both of us combined. He's on his fitness journey and his wrestling journey and stuff like that. So being able to do that. And I try to push him as hard as I can without being like one of those dads that's just too overboard with it, or like too trying to like live my dream through them type of mentality. Like I want to make sure they're happy at the end of the day. I've always told them that it doesn't matter what you do in life as long as you're happy. I don't care if you're bagging groceries till you're 65. If it makes you happy, that's it.
But ain't making them happy bagging groceries.
No. No. But like, yeah, if as long as you're happy, as long as you're happy, I tell them all the time, as long as you're happy, you know what I mean? But whatever you do, I'm gonna push you as much as I can.
And as someone that's a people watcher, I'm always watching people, whether they realize it or not. I don't see any of the forced stuff. Like I don't see a lot of the same mistakes that I made, you know, as a father. I was a young father, and I made a lot of mistakes, you know, with my children. My children have done some wonderful things, but like if I could go back in time, like you said, pushing your children to do some things that are not necessarily in their heart, like I was guilty of that, you know. And in the short term, they had a lot of success, right? But there was no long term success. Like as soon it was time for them to make their decision, like they abandoned you know, those things. And I don't see that, you know, with your boys. You know, I see Anthony and he's making music and he's happy, you know, making music, and he makes really good music. I'm of the belief that it's only a matter of time, you know, before the right person hears him.
Oh yeah, it takes one person,
you know, and I hope to God that, you know, he understands that too, and he continues on his journey, because it's not easy being an artist, right?
No. And with music, especially music, is like the fact that he's doing it consistently. Like I'm super proud of him, because you know, that's a hard industry, you know, from what I see, and you know, the people that I hang out with and stuff like that. You know, so like you know, I'm you know, my medium is, you know, paint and stuff like that, and his medium is, you know, music and beats and things like that. So I don't know the full, you know, aspect of what goes into it, but you know, I just always tell him that I'm proud of him, and that, you know, his hard work is what's going to pay off. You know what I mean? Like his consistency is always it's going to pay off soon. You know, there's just going to be that one person to hear it, and that's it. Especially in this day and age, you know, with social media and things like that. So, you know, I tell him, you know, all the time, just to keep on, you know, and I really don't even have to tell him. He's just like that. He's made like that, you know. So, so that makes me proud. You know, that makes me proud. And then, you know, the little one, you know, I push him. I do push him because I see the potential in him.
Yeah.
You know, like I was telling him the other, not long ago, there was he was I want to say it was a gray and white belt. I believe it was like the last gray belt, or whatever. And I could see it in his eyes. You can tell in your kids, you know,
when he's ready to take that jump.
No, when they're ready, they're getting tired of it.
Oh,
like you could tell when they're ready to make that jump, but also when they're just getting tired of it, or they're just like they're losing focus in it, right? And I remember that. And I was like, you know what? As I could just be like, okay, let's just quit. But then as his dad, I was just like, nah, dude, I know you. There's so much in you, like. Let me push you just a little bit. Let's go today. Let's go train when you don't feel like training. Let's go. And I remember seeing that in his eyes one time. And that day I took him to the gym, and he got promoted to yellow belt, I believe. The next belt up. And man, it changed. It flipped something in him. And then you see him now.
Isn't it funny how timing is everything?
Yeah. So it's like, I think that's important too, to push them just enough, because you know that, you know, you see something in them, you see the potential in them, and you see what they're, you know, what they're capable of, that sometimes they don't even see it.
Yeah, and he's an artist of sorts as well, right? Like I've seen him with some of his movie style makeup and whatnot, and he looks to be gifted. You know? Not just good, but he looks to be gifted.
Yeah, he's definitely he has that once he gets attached to something, like he puts 100% into it. And then once he gets bored of it, he'll stop. So when he had that he was doing special effects, and he put everything into it, and he got really good at it. But then, you know, he got into, which the next phase of his life was like the gym and stuff like that, and then, you know, wrestling and jiu-jitsu, which I'm not mad that he stopped doing that and went into this, you know, the next chapter. So yeah, he picks up stuff, and he's, you know, he's naturally gifted, and you know, both my boys, like I said, they have, each of them have their own gifts, you know, and they work hard at, you know, what God gifted them with. So I'm proud of them, proud of both of them, man.
Yeah, man. And hey, like, speaking of the devil, like, you were a little bit late, like you said, because you had to go, you know, fade your boy up for his banquet, you know, tomorrow, man. So you know, hey, that's that Father of the Year stuff, man. Hey, you got my vote, man.
Thank you.
I don't know if my vote counts, man, but you got my vote, man. I like seeing that, and I wanted to make sure that I recognize that, and I thought that it was just awesome just to hear you talk about your sons too.
No, thank you, man. Because
in my opinion, I think, you know, more of us dads, you know, need to step in and like be what our sons need, and we need to lead by example, not so much by our words, but they see the way we live.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so let's talk about the way you live. And this is probably going back to the first time we've spoken, but since we're on video, I think it's important we revisit it. Like, share with us, man, how you was working on the railroad, right? Unhappy. not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
Providing for your family, you know, but there was a piece of your heart that seemed to be, you know, just not filled.
Yeah.
And then you took a chance on yourself. Share that with us.
I think that was around the time that I had just quit too. I think when you started the podcast was around that time. It was, well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know when I quit it was 2019, January 2019, towards the end of January, and I quit the railroad. I was working for the railroad for 8 years, and I picked up, you know, I got back into art, around that time is when social media hit, and so Instagram was real big, and it just kind of sparked something, you know, the competitiveness in me, and I seen other artists posting stuff and things like that. I wasn't like hating on anybody.
It was
just,
a race.
It was just like okay, man, I need to get back into it because you know, I used to always draw. When I was a kid. I was always drawing. I was always doing stuff like that. I was painting and things like that. And then and yeah, social media hit, and I was like, man, let me get back into it. So I started doing it, and then you know, people started seeing when I posted it. You know, I had friends and stuff like that that wanted, you know, paintings or drawings and things like that. And at that time, I was like, man, I can make a few hundred extra bucks a month. You know, that's great. You know what I mean? And then I started seeing what, you know, what it took to make these paintings, and I was like, okay, that's not enough. But at that time, it was just like, at that time, I was just like, okay, it's a little extra. So then I seen the potential in it. I was like, you know what, I can actually do this for a living, you know. And then once I figured that out, that's kind of when I started getting frustrated and depressed towards the end of you know, being on the railroad, because all I could think about was art, and all I could think about was, because I was working 8 days on, and then I was home for 7. So I would be working, and then in the guest bedroom at the time that I had, the house that I had, I made that into a studio. And so I'd come home and I would just be painting and you know, all these commissions that I got, I was just working on that. So I was working the railroad doing that. And then you know, that 7th day when I was packing my suitcase to get back on the road, man, I was like, I hated that day. I hated it because I was just like, man, getting back out here and you know, going into like motels and hotels that were, you know, these little hole in the wall hotels. Sometimes I wake up and I'd just be like, dang, like I can't wait. I can't wait to get back home. You know what I mean? And sometimes I would take my sketchbook out there and still sketch after I was done working. So some people would order like portraits, like charcoal portraits, and I would just be working on that after. So I was just constantly working on art, and then yeah, it just kind of like I got a mural, a commission done or commissioned by the Astros. That was the first year that they were incorporating, you know, art or street art, they would say, into the stadium. They had a specific wall, and which I hated that mural. Looking back on it, because it was horrible.
Really?
But, yeah,
who was on it? Who'd you have painted on it?
It was like the old school and new school. It was like Bagwell, and then like Biggio, because yeah, it had the 3 Bs, and then it was like Altuve, and who else was on there? Bregman, and then some other one. But just that's when I had just picked up the spray can. Actually, that was like that was probably like 2017, 2018.
Who gave you your break? Because someone had to have noticed you. Like, where did you, or who gave you that break and the vote of confidence that said, "Hey, Frank, you know, let's come touch up, you know, Minute Maid Stadium or Minute Maid Park"?
I had some connect. There's connections. A friend of mine, Hector, and shout out to Hector. He used to run a Site Jab, but they changed it now, I believe. I forgot the name of the new one, but he does marketing actually, and so I knew him, but he knew somebody at Minute Maid. I believe it was his cousin or somebody, and Chris, and he was they were looking at incorporating that in the stadium. So he reached out to him, and then Hector was like, "Oh man, you know, this dude, he just did my office, you know, because I just painted his office. He had an office out there in Greenspoint." And then so so then from there, that he hit him up, and then I went in and I painted that mural. But I would say as like man, I don't know, as a break though, like a big break, I would say the first person that kind of put me on like that kind of like showed a lot of people was Andre Johnson.
Yeah, I remember that pain.
Yeah, so it was actually a painting that I was experimenting with, and I was going fishing with a buddy of mine. We were heading out to Galveston, and I get this message on Instagram because I had just posted it, and it was like his manager or somebody, and then and yeah, he hit me up, and you know, long story short, I took the paint. I met up with him later on, took the painting to him, and then after that, and it's kind of like a domino effect. You know, other people started wanting stuff, and then I want to say the Minute Maid it came after that, but that was one of the first few murals I did as I was working on the railroad, and then when that happened, I was just like, man, you know what? I was just like, I'm gonna make this leap. I was like, I'm gonna try it.
What'd that leap feel like, man? Because it's
Yeah,
kind of like there's a set of golden handcuffs on you. Like I'm making good money at the railroad, but
yeah.
this is what's in my heart.
Yeah, I had man, it was scary, and actually, I do. It's funny because I was driving, and I finally decided to do that. I pulled over at Kim Song right here. It was weird. I was right here at Kim Song for some reason, and I called because I think I had a meeting or something, and I called my manager, and I pulled over, and I was like, "Hey, man, you know, I think that's it for me, dude. Because not a lot of people quit the railroad. They don't quit the.
It's steady.
Yeah, it's a career. You know, you got pension, you got retirement, all that, and I hit him up, and I was like, hey, dude, man, I think that's it, dude. I think I'm done with the railroad. I think I'm gonna go ahead. And he was actually a really cool boss. A lot of them kind of dicks. They're not they're kind of, but he was actually a really understanding and a really good boss. And he was like, all right, man. He's like, I get it. He's like, you know what, man, good luck, and good luck with everything, and I appreciate you, your work and stuff like that, and that was it. He said goodbye, and man, it was weird. It was because it was like it was a good feeling, but it was like also it was scary,
That's just so.
And so I was just like, that's it, sink or swim, and the thing is, you know what? When you have a vision, though, when you have, not a lot of people understand your vision. They don't get it. You know what I mean? They see it from an outside. They see it outside looking in.
They're trying to protect you.
Yeah, and they're scared. They're scared, and they be, they'll say things and things like that, but out of fear. But again, like I said, they don't see what's going on in my head. They don't
feel it either.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they don't understand it. Like for me, it was like it was this or nothing. You know what I mean? And it has its ups and downs. It has its ups and downs. But the thing is, I just keep going. You just got to keep going. If you believe in it, if you believe in whatever dream you have, if you believe in it enough, like it's gonna be hard sometimes. It's gonna have some really high highs and some really low lows.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going.
What are some of these lows? Because I think like sometimes when people look at you, they're like, "Oh man, he's got it made." He's got work coming in left and right, and
I tell no, I tell people all the time, like, don't believe Instagram, like, dude, like it's social media. Like people are gonna put, some of the better things or some of the better days they have on there, and that's it, and they think it's all like rainbows and butterflies. It's not. You know what I mean? Because me as a full-time artist, now I'm in charge of everything. Now I'm in charge of, the business side too. When before working on the railroad, I'd go work, they'd cut me my check, they'd invest my money in the retirement, I'd have a pension way. So now as a full-time artist, and this goes for anybody as an artist or entrepreneur or whatever. It's scary because you got to do everything now, so you got to be a little more careful. So I would say the lows is when the work is slow and it's not consistent. But then the highs are when, like,
tell us about the highs.
The highs are when you have job after job after job and it's piling up. Those are the good ones. Or when you have big jobs, like I worked with the Rockets for a long time.
Every year, yeah.
Yeah. So, those were the highs, and it's like I said, it's just as long as you believe in that dream of yours, like it's not gonna. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? If you're at the lowest point, it's all you can do is go up from there. So. Yeah.
Well, having a space like this and the ability to be creative, has it opened up any other things that you enjoy doing, you know, outside of art? Like I noticed you got into tattooing a little bit. Like you still messing around with that?
No, I did. No, but you know, my boy Jerry, I actually just recently told him that I want to get back into it, just so I can do it here on the side, you know, here and there. It's just the time, you know, especially if I have like commission work and things like that. You know, I got to focus on that, but I do need to make some time to get back into it. I fell off, so I need to practice on some like fake skin first, or you know, stuff like that before I go in. Or I have some guinea pigs out there that they have some horrible tattoos, so whatever tattoos I do is gonna be better.
My son, I'm gonna volunteer my son, man. He's been going out and getting tattoos by his buddies.
Oh, for real?
Little $250 jobs.
Okay.
And
yeah.
dude, let me send you over to Frank, man.
Yeah, let me get a couple, because you know, my oldest one, he wants me to, you know, do some work on him, and then I got my brother that wants me to do some. So I need to brush up on it, so that way they're not too horrible, you know. So
what are some other things you're interested in?
Man, I want to do some sculpting, get into some airbrushing into you know, believe it or not, I want to do some automobile painting. Like, I don't know why.
Like the little bike over there?
Yeah, that little bike over there. I want to get into it. Like, that's why I got it. That's why just to practice on it. And so, but it's been sitting there for, God, I remember calling my brother, my little brother, because he's actually in a motorcycle club. And I remember calling him. I was like, hey, dude, I texted him. I said, man, come with me. I need to pick up this hog. And he goes, you for real? You got a bike? And I was like, yeah, bro, come on, let's go. I need your help. I need to put it back on the back of the truck. He's all excited. He's like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it, man. And so we go, and I pick him up, and he's like, where we going? I was like, no. I said, like, I'm going to show you, man. It's dope. Like, just wait till you see it. He's like, all right, cool. And then we pull up to Montrose, and, like, into this little, like, apartment. He's like, where are we, dude? He's like, I was like, just come help me. And so we go, and the lady comes out, and she's like this, she has like long dreads, and she's, you know, she's all like super, you know, like hippie, and
yeah, she been smoking.
Yeah. She had just probably toked one up, and then so he's like, where's it at? And then she goes, it's right over here. She's like, it's over here. And she goes and she pulls over the blanket. And Isaiah's like, what the hell is that? And I was like, dude, that's my bike, dude.
It's my hog.
Yeah, it's my hog. And he's like, bro, I thought you were about to get a Harley or something. I was like, no, dude. I said, no. I said, I wanted to practice on it. So that's the plan for that little bike right there, or that little moped, is to practice airbrushing on it. So
yeah, I imagine it's gonna look good when you get done with it, man. I bet you the look on your brother's face was priceless too.
Oh, dude, yeah. He's like, he was laughing, but he was pissed at the same time.
Like, hold up, man. Let me get a picture of this real quick.
He actually jumped on and started it, and he started riding a little bit. So yeah, he's funny, dude.
Well, hey, we've got some mutual interest, man. Like yourself and I, we enjoy the grappling arts, right? Yeah. Like we're both Brazilian Jiu Jitsu enthusiasts. Yeah. And so is our man Dan, sitting in the back over there, smiling. Yeah. How did you come to start training? Because Jiu Jitsu is a sport that is it's growing exponentially.
Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna have to thank my youngest one for that one. So because when I wanted to put him into something, I didn't want to put him into, you know, like karate or anything like that. And nothing against, you know, the art of karate and things like that. But like, I wanted to have him do something like boxing or kickboxing or something like that, something that he could use, you know, to defend himself. And so I looked up Muay Thai gyms around, and, you know, Gracie Baja came up. So I went in and I put him in, and he started classes. Now, he was like 7 years old, and he started doing it. But I noticed that he kept looking over at the kids doing jiu-jitsu
in the pajamas.
And I think it was the gi that got him. Like, I think that's what it was the gi. And so he was like, man, I kind of want to do that. I was like, you like the gi, huh? He's like, yeah. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I put him in there, and then I always noticed that there was I would watch him, and I would watch the coach. I'm really good at like listening and taking notes and taking what the coach says and using it, right? So when he was there, he would be doing things, and he wouldn't be doing them right. So I was like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this. I'm yelling from the sideline, right?
Oh no, you're one of them.
I was one of those.
Oh,
yeah.
Frank.
But here's the thing though. It was like he was in it for like a year, and I was just like, you know what? Something kind of came over me, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be one of those parents. All right. Let me try it out. Let me see what he's experiencing. Like what's going on. You know, let me see how he's feeling. So I did the free week trial, and bro, that first day, man, I gassed out so bad. That first day, I was just like, I was like, man, I'm never gonna say anything again. I was like, but I got hooked. Like it was just something like, and I most people would have quit, like because man, like I was one of those white belts that just went in and just went all out.
You know, big muscles, good gas tank. I
was just like, but I realized I was like, yeah, then none of that shit matters.
Who served you that first piece of humble pie?
God, who was it? Man, who was one of the stronger ones in there? Who's both of them are black belts now. Jacob.
Oh, the cop.
I think Jay was one, and then oh my God,
Hey, just say no more, Jake, man.
Yeah, Jacob, and then our biggest black belt we got in there.
Boyer.
Yes. So like those guys, and then Joel too. I remember Joel too. Yeah, and then Alex, of course. Alex is just beast. But I remember Joel, like I think I popped like 2 ribs rolling with Joel. And just because just the way he grapples, and then but Jacob, and then boy, the both of them like. Because they're big and strong, and then like I remember he did one move on me. He was like in north south, and he grabbed my gi, and he put it under my armpits, and he flung me up like nothing.
Been there,
dude. I got so humbled that day. I was like, man, that's embarrassing. I was like, but never again did he do it again, because I remember like when I felt him try it.
Hey, never again he's gonna do that,
like,
right?
I was like, I feel it coming. So, and that's what you got to do. A lot of people ask sometimes when they're grappling with me, like hey. How do you do this or this? I was like, dude, you just got to do it. And if you get submitted, like, you just learn from it.
Learn.
Yeah, that's it. Once you get submitted a few times, I mean, y'all know, like, once you get submitted a few times, you're not going to do it again.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, or you'll learn from it and learn the next move to get out of it.
That head caught in that guillotine of them triangles too much.
Oh, yeah.
Some of us ain't learned yet, Frank.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's how I got into it was because of the little one, because I didn't want to be one of those parents yelling from the sidelines. I want to actually try it out. And so, God willing, whenever I have my black belt one day, I have to thank him for that. So,
yeah. How has it improved your outlook on life? How has it improved?
Oh,
you as a human being.
Yeah, I always tell everybody that it's I tell my kids, I tell my girl, I tell them like everybody like, hey, it's therapy for me.
Yeah,
like it's just therapy. Like I'll go in there, and there'll be times where I'm just like, man, I didn't want to be here. But life was just kicking my ass. Like I was just going through some things, and I get in there, and like I start rolling, and like after, it's insane. Like how much you feel, how much better you feel.
Right, nothing else matters.
Yeah. So some of those days, if I've rolled with any of you guys and I rolled a little extra hard, I was going through shit that day. So sorry, I apologize. Like, no, but yeah, it was yeah, it's just therapy to me now, man. It's just honestly therapy, and it's just like before it was all about exercise. It's about, and it still is. It's still about it's an amazing workout. I don't do cardio during the week. I only do jiu-jitsu for cardio because it's insane.
It's its own cardio too, right?
Yeah.
Like you can run for days, but that doesn't necessarily translate over to the mat.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And so so yeah, I just use it as exercise and to keep keep moving, but also for me, it's very therapeutic for me. So.
Oh yeah. If you could, let's say, sell people on jiu-jitsu over at Gracie Baja the Woodlands, like what would you say to get them in the door?
I would tell them, first off, come try it out. Come try the free week trial that we have, and give it at least a month.
Yeah,
you're gonna want to quit the first week. It's gonna be in you to be like, man, I'm not going back. Screw that. Like I'm not going back. Like, but if you can give it like a month at least, you're gonna realize how much you love it. And like, it's crazy because I'm 4-stripe purple right now. I got hurt all through like towards like the 3rd or 4th stripe of my white belt is when I first got my first injury, and then through my blue belt I was just injury after injury, and then like my worst injury was at the beginning of my purple. That's when I was rolling with Junior, and me and Junior were rolling, and he had a crucifix on me, and he was pulling, and I was pulling, and it just stretched my whole chest and bicep, and just kind of like almost tore the whole thing. And I think I got it dislocated for a second and went back in, and that was my worst injury. But I just kept coming back, and people were like, "Why do you do that?" I was like, "Dude, you're not gonna understand it until."
Addicted.
Huh?
I'm addicted.
Yeah, you're not gonna understand it until you start doing it. You know what I mean? You know, I always, and it's funny you got the chess set out. Like we got the chess set out here. It's like chess,
isn't it?
It's like chess.
Kinetic chess, man.
Yeah, yeah. So it's crazy. And then like now, even more now, I guess because of the experience I have with it and the amount of years that I've put in it, it's crazy how you think when you're in a position.
Oh,
you know, like you're like, okay, he's about to do this, so I'm gonna try this. Once he does that, and you know, if you calculate it right, it you know, it comes out good. You know,
it's weird too. It's like there's no bad positions in life. You know, if you've been in a jiu-jitsu class and you've had like Coach Morano on you or Spider Monkey Ricky or Jay got you in a guillotine or something, it's like those are bad positions.
Yeah.
You know, but like you're like, hey man, is air conditioning good in here and stuff? It's like, no man, I'm always comfortable, man.
Yeah.
We live uncomfortable.
It's crazy because I don't want. Yeah, I don't. I like and people think that if you do jiu-jitsu or you do any type of like you're just gonna be this aggressive dude outside of the gym. Dude, I don't even want to fight.
It's the opposite.
Like I just like, dude, I'll try to avoid fights or whatever. I don't feel like fighting. Like it's just not. It's not. And majority of those guys that are in that gym could probably like beat up, you know, 89% of the people out there, you know, but a lot of them are just like, dude, I don't feel like fighting after this. Like, it's just.
Can't we just hug and love each other?
Yeah. So, that's what I love about that too. I love about jiu-jitsu is it calms you. As much it's grappling and it's very intense, but it calms you a lot.
Yeah, it soothes, you know, the savage soul, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, let's change gears, kind of going back into the art world. Who are some of the people that you've collaborated, you know, with that, let's say, like you used to look up to here in the Houston area? Because this is a pretty historic spot, you know, for street murals, you know, the city of Houston, and it's starting to kind of go, you know, nation and worldwide. But who are some people that, you know, you used to see their work on the wall, and then now you find yourself like doing projects with them, and you know, breaking bread with them and stuff.
Yeah, I've got you know, the art community is especially moving out here to Edo. You know, they're very tight, and that's what's cool about Houston is that the art community, there's not a lot of people that hate on each other. Like everybody's, you know, is about like everybody eats. You know what I mean? Like
we can all eat.
Yeah. And so I remember when I first quit my regular job and started, you know, art. My very first show was with my boy Alex, Donkey Boy. He had the Donkey Boy and Friends show at Eighth Wonder, and that was the very first art show that I was a part of. And then so he showed me a lot of love. And then what's crazy is, you know, because I looked up to him and I was like, you know, he does a lot of you know, stuff for Houston, and he's been out here for a minute. And then I've collaborated with him. So I've been out to Belize. He took me out to Belize. Me and you know, a couple other artists out to Belize to do some murals out there, which was pretty dope. That was my first, you know, mural outside of the U.S. And so people that I looked up to like him, you know, it's crazy to, you know, work with them after, you know. And then, you know, I have a lot of people that I've done that I've been painted next to. My boy Ware, Primo. You know, there's a lot of people out here that do some great work that I've been honored to work next to. You know,
well, you're an established veteran now, right? You know, and it's almost like on you to start bringing up that next generation. Like, who's next? Who are some people that you know, you can see that they're emerging, and you know, they just need a crack, and like maybe they just need like Franky to co-sign on something. You know, who are some of these young people?
I would even say I need to co-sign with my boy Floyd Mendoza. He's a young he did it right. He made the jump young. I think he's only like 24, 25, and he's on it, dude. And what's crazy, he's worked on the railroad too.
Really?
Yeah, he worked on the railroad too. So him and I talk about that. But he's young. He don't even need a cosign. His work ethic is insane. That cosigns it just alone, you know. So look out for him. He's super talented and hungry. That dude is hungry. So you know, I respect him, and and there's you know, a lot of other artists that I've worked with. They're doing their thing, and they do their, you know, their own style and things like that. Like I said, you know, Ware, Primo, Noke. You know, there's a lot of people that I've been honored to work with, and you know, and like I said, nobody hates out here. Nobody hates. Everybody's like, you know, everybody's. It's a good community out here.
I think just as a rule of thumb in the city of Houston, like the hating level is pretty low.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we definitely got people that hate. It's in the human nature to hate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, like when the world was burning down and everyone was at each other's throats, like the city of Houston was one of the shining examples of how like people of all ethnicities and creeds and religions, like we could all get together and say, hey, let's chill out, man.
Yeah.
Let's think, let's process, you know, and let's not act so irrationally. You know, so I've always been proud of our city, and it's cool to hear that on the art front, you know, it's super similar.
Yeah.
What are some cities that you want to bless with some of your work, and who are some of these artists? I remember, and I'm gonna forget it. I'm gonna fumble the bag right here, but I remember someone in our first conversation that you had mentioned. You're like, man, I want to work with him. And I keep seeing, I know what his art looks like. It's like a bunch of like, they look like Mickey Mouse, but they got X's over the eyes.
Oh, Cause.
Yeah.
Cause. Yeah, that dude's, those guys are like on
the God level.
Those are like Michael Jordans and LeBrons of like our world. But yeah, Cause, Damien Hirst, he's an amazing. Like I said, those are just people. I think Damien Hirst is like the richest living artist out there. He was he recently did Drake's cover for his one of his albums. I don't know if you remember that album with like all the pregnant women.
Yes.
On it. Yeah, he did that. People give him a lot of they give him grief because like he has, you know, other people doing his artwork for him. So he has like a vision. He tells him what he wants, and then the dude's old now. He's older now.
Yeah.
So he's already put in the work and things like that. So
well, it's similar to Rick Rubin in the music industry, right? Like people go to Rick Rubin and Rick mixes and matches it a little bit, but like for the most part, he just kind of just tinkers and toils a little bit. And
it's his vision that not the knowledge that he has and the vision he has, like that's worth a lot. And I don't think people understand that. You know, some people, and like I said, you know, we're gonna have people that hate on it all the time and they don't see it. And I'm just like, I respect it. I respect his, you know, his hustle, and I respect, you know, his vision and things like that. So, yeah, but those are some artists that I look up to, and yeah, hopefully one day I can meet them. You know, that'd be great. You know.
Like I'm a big believer in energy and putting words out there because you know, words typically lead to action, and we're gonna keep going for it, man. We're gonna get that collab, that lifetime collab. What are some itches, you know, before you put down the paintbrush or the aerosol can that you want to scratch when it comes to art? Because I know that you had mentioned to me like I like doing commissions, but it's like I want to start painting whatever the heck I want to paint. And I want people to pay for that. Like, how are we doing in that front? Like, are we getting there?
Yeah, a lot of people. It since the first time that we spoke, you know, I'll put a lot of passion projects out there, and then I'll have people hit me up, hey, how much you want for that, and things like that. So I always notice that those do sell pretty quick. But yeah, that's the goal. Eventually, that is the goal to and I think that's the goal for every artist is to make a living just off of their passion projects, just off of what they, you know, believe in and what they want to put out there. You know what I mean? I think that's an ultimate goal for everybody, you know, without having, you know, to be guided. Hey, can you take this out? Can you put this in? You know, but that would be it. I think when I first talked to you, I had mentioned a solo show. I'm still yet to do the solo show. So yeah, and I was planning on doing it like
here.
Yeah, no, well, I was planning on doing it last year, or like in December, but just things got crazy, and then I couldn't do it, and then I was like, man, I'm gonna do it, but I feel it's coming soon because it's been way too long. Like I haven't.
It's time.
Yeah. So I don't see it here. I see it whenever I envisioned my solo show was in a big industrial warehouse with white walls, bricks, and I actually found one recently.
Oh, so you've been looking. It's not like it's just been simmering. Like
no, I've been looking. I've been putting in work. So I hopefully soon. Hopefully we get that one going soon. I just gotta, you know, being a working artist, you gotta work. You know, worry about bills. You gotta worry about things like that.
You have a lot of coals in the fire.
Yeah, so that comes first, and then after that, you know, then you gotta, you know, create your passion projects and things like that and your inventory. You gotta stack up your inventory so that way you can have them ready for the solo show, you know. So there's a lot that goes into it, but like I said, I'm not trying to quit. I'm not trying to quit. I'm, you know.
Yeah. Well, I know we're getting, you know, close to an hour, man. So we usually like to wrap it up around there. But I got, you know, one more question, and then love for you to, you know, throw your handles and stuff out there. Being an artist, like you can always see what's next or kind of have an eye on, you know, what's the next big thing in art. What do you think is like the next big thing that people are gravitating towards? Like, is it going to be integrating AI into their art? Like, I don't know how that would go, but it just seems like a natural progression. What do you see?
Yeah, I think a lot. I think AI's. A lot of people have their thing with AI. I'm just like, man, it's here. We gotta figure out how to use it. Um, I'm not like I'm all about like there's gonna be changes, right? You just gotta adapt to it. Um, so like that's probably something that's gonna be next for the like it's gonna have something to do with the art world, but I feel like art's never gonna your original artwork and things like that is never gonna die because that's still a part of you. That's still something that comes from the artist and
Yeah.
things like that. And you can use AI. You can use AI for if you wanted to like I don't know maybe get a background or something like that and like just adjust it on and draw on it or something and create your own style. It's the same. I always look at it like I feel it's the same thing as finding a Google image.
All right,
And
so it's a
using it.
tool.
Yeah. That's what I see it as. Now, if you're gonna like, I think a lot of people have issues with it because like if it's like another person's artwork and then they like recreate it on AI, then I could see the problem there. You know what I mean? But like if you're getting like if I have an image of Muhammad Ali or something like that that I found on Google that I'm going to use, I think it's the same thing as if you put that image into AI and try to
Yeah.
create something. So I feel like just you got to adapt to it and just be open minded. Be open minded to everything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things. I mean, there's so much going on now, and there's so many new things. Just figure out how you can use them, and
Because they ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
ain't going
So
anywhere.
yeah, don't make a big deal about it. Just still be, still be creative and be your own person and things like that. But yeah, I would say be open minded to a lot of things that come our way as artists and creatives.
Yeah, man. So, shoot, one last thing, and I probably shouldn't have said the other one was the last thing, man. But
No, you're good.
do me a favor. I want you to speak to like the young artists out there, like that. The little boy drawing on his pad right now. That's got a bunch of C's and D's in the classroom, but he loves to draw and he's good at drawing.
Yeah.
And I get to see that every day. But talk to that kid real quick, and let him know like where and what he can do with these talents, and at least recognizing that it is a talent and that he can, do something with it.
Yeah. I would say if you're waking up and you're thinking about it and you're going to sleep thinking about it, then there's a reason for that. There's a reason, behind that. And you're talented and it's a gift that you have. Like, don't waste it. God gave you that gift. Just put some work ethic behind it. Just put hard work behind it. I always tell people all the time. I said, if your work ethic is greater than your dream, like it's gonna be guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like I tell people that all the time. So like you can have a dream, and I think everybody should dream. I think everybody should dream big. And dream big about something you believe in and you're passionate about. So if it's art, if it's photography, if it's sculpting, if it's jujitsu, you want to be the greatest jujitsu player, athlete in the world. Just work at it. Just work hard at it. So yeah, to that kid out there drawing, there's you can make something of that. You could definitely make something of it, and don't give up. And there might be some people out there that might discourage you because they don't have the same vision and the same dream as you. So don't allow that. Have respect for them if it's your family and things like that. Have respect for them, but at the same time, continue on your path and just work hard at it. So yeah, that's what I would say is just work at it. And if you're passionate about it, then most likely that's what you're gonna do the rest of your life.
Yeah. Big facts, man. Well, drop them handles, man, where people can find you and
yeah. You can just hit me up on Instagram mainly at Instagram. It's gonna be at Franky Cardona. That's at FRANKY CARDONA. And yeah, just hit me up there. And if hey those little anybody those new artists that are that have questions or anything like that, they're more than welcome to hit me up. And if I can help you, then I'll do that. So yeah.
You're a good dude, man. So again, one of those full circle moments. I appreciate you for. I think this is like episode 176 or 77,
dude.
something like that. And you were number one, man.
Thank you, man.
Much love. Thank you for believing in someone that just had an idea, and it's cool, man. Right? Like, cool. Josh over there, you know, with behind the camera making everything look good. Hey, and look,
It's dope.
you're gonna look good, man.
Nah, I appreciate it.
I was gonna
man.
take care
Thank
of you.
you.
You know, we got Big Dan on the team now
There
over
you
there,
go.
man,
Yeah, I
mixing and
know.
matching and editing, man. And got Natalia over there that can
Yeah.
make the most beautiful graphic art over there, which is a different kind of art.
Yeah, that's another beast right there, dude.
Isn't
Graphic
it?
art, yeah, kudos to you on that. 'Cause that's man, that's hard. I ain't gonna lie, it's hard.
So, but man, much love, continued success, man, and thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So, thank y'all for watching the Be Someone podcast. It's your host, Coach Chris Ortiz, and Franky Cardona got that checkmate. Y'all have a blessed day, guys.
Thank you.
Lights, camera, session. Use the flow, molasses. Blue the line, my fashion. Future branding glasses. Applause from the masses.
This is the Be Someone podcast.